Well, hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys coming to say hello. Hopefully, hello. Oh, what's going on here? Seems to have been frozen. Okay. Okie dokie. Working on this raider over here. So, let's see this. There we go. That's much better there. I am Skari, your grateful host. And we are painting a Drukhari raider today. So that's super exciting. I don't know what's going on here. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. What is going? Okay, there we go. Perfect. Everything seems to be working now. Haha. Okay, perfect. It's working. It's working. Super excited about this. Hello, Blue Cloud Andrew. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Today is a rare occasion. I'm also streaming live on YouTube, so you can probably hear my voice. But if you want to see my face, make sure you head out to Twitch, where I do the live stream on Twitch every single day at 10:30. So this is the time that I do the stream on Twitch. And I've got my paints ready. So just as a quick reminder, on Monday we did the base coats. We got all base coats done. Yesterday we did the first layer and we did the wash. And so the whole thing was washed in Agrax Earthshade, bringing in and tying in all the different colors. And now we'll be doing yo Michael, welcome. And now we'll be doing basically the first set of like color layers and things like that, and we'll slowly be working on that. I'm going to start with the gray just because it's probably one of the easiest grays to do. Now with a Storm Vermin Fur, and that was the gray that we used. No, not that. Sorry, we started with an Eshin gray. That was the gray that I used for the whole thing. And then later today, we've got a battle. I'll be playing with Kyle. So I'm using Eshin gray, and this is my old crappy GW brush. I'm just grabbing a bunch of this, watering it down, done and done. And then all I'm doing here is essentially going over the raised areas again to bring up the color. So I'm using my trusty old Citadel base brush because it's big enough for this. And all I'm doing is essentially going over pretty much everything again, especially all the raised areas. Now, because it's the bottom of the tank, I don't need to be like crazy, like, you know, good with it, really. At the end of the day, nobody's really going to be looking underneath your raider, to be fair. But it's a good habit to get into, to just paint every part of your model, because it just looks, it's just, you know, maybe your opponents don't, but you know that it's done or it's not done. That alone should be enough to get you to do it. And it's going to be subtle, but it'll be there, right? And all I'm doing are eventually we'll do like another dry brush as well. And we'll kind of build up the gray. But as it stands, all we're doing is essentially bringing it up in color after the wash. Just kind of like giving it a first highlight, but it's not really a highlight, and you can't really see like the main difference that it does. until you've kind of done everything and you can like step back and see the whole model. You're like, oh, it actually did make a difference. Yeah, it does make a difference. Quite a big difference, actually. It's been a good week. Today is what, Wednesday? Is it Wednesday or is it Thursday already? I don't even know. The day flies by so quickly. I have a feeling it's Wednesday today. Yeah. And we have little sections to do this way in. It's not perfect, but it looks good. If you have any hobby questions or anything like that, leave them down in the chat. I'm also going to be starting my army list reviews soon. I already have 3 army lists that folks want me to review, so really exciting. So one little spindly thing at a time. That's all it takes. One little spindly thing at a time. To make sure you get the right colors. To make it look really clean. That is correcto. Ay, madre santa. Look at this. This is the spirit, really. Getting stuff painted. And that's the motto that we have here on the paint shop. Just get some paint on it. That's it. Get some paint on it. Just put paint on it. So we're going to be doing little stickers. It'll be fun. That you can then just hand out to people at a tournament that say, just put paint on it. Especially if you play against the grey army of death, which I believe we've all been victims of in the past. Give them a sticker that says, just paint on it, man. Or girl, paint on it. Why are you torturing us without putting paint on your models? Right. Who agrees with me? I do. I agree with me. Da, 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 da. Oh no. Wrong brush. Always make sure that you mix your paints with a crappy brush. When I get really excited, I'm like, all done and done. Okay. This is a crappy brush, but you can still kind of use it so you don't waste the paint. If you're careful so it doesn't get into all the other spots of the model. There you go, see? It's looking good. There you go. Done and done. And who do we have on the chat today? Say hi in the chat box. Unless you're just a lurker, which you can say, hi, I'm just lurking. I'm like, cool. Cool, you know. Welcome to the lurking channel. Or welcome to the lurking box if you're just painting something yourself today. There we go. Subtle, but you can see the difference. Definitely a subtle difference. However, a difference nonetheless. Hey, Brandon Blue, how are you, buddy? Joining us on Twitch. Thanks for tuning in. What are you using for? Just a fancy Commander Raider? Yeah, essentially. I have 2 fancy raiders. This one was made for the channel by Patreon Kyle. You've seen him on Battle Reports, and you've seen his work on the channel before. He converted the Grandmaster Dread Knights that Matt uses in his Grey Knight army that are all converted up to look like really cool knights, not just baby carriages. So that's Kyle's work. You've also seen his orcs many a time on the channel. And his orcs are the ones that are yellow. So his orcs are yellow, and he's got a ton of conversions. You'll be seeing some of them in the next battle report, which I'll be putting up for the Patreons tomorrow, I want to say. But that won't be up for like another week for general release. And I am releasing the next battle report for general public today, actually. Just releasing the bat rep. So enjoy it. It's going to be fun. It's a good little bat rep for sure. I'll read. Hey Shane, how are you? How many Raiders is that now? How many Raiders do I own? Well, I want to say I own about 7 or 8 Raiders. I own more Raiders than I do Venoms, I believe. But one of these Raiders, I'm going to own another Venom actually after this weekend. This weekend is a big team tournament, the Sudbury team tournament. It's like an ETC style event. So we've got 4-man teams going to smash it out at an event in Sudbury, Ontario, and I'm really excited about that. Actually, taking a team of Team Canada prospects, and because of the Patreon goal, I get to dress up like a Harlequin, which is exciting because the Patreons I hit a good milestone basically with the Patreons. And I got myself a really cool Spanish live battle. Yes, I born and raised in Mexico. My parents are from England. And I've been in Canada, I want to say 13, almost 14 years now. Which is pretty crazy how long it's been. So my dad's side of the family is from Spain, hence all the Spanish and why we were in Mexico originally. Long story about my grandfather working for the OSS in the Second World War, which is a story for another time. For anybody who doesn't know what the OSS is, it used to be basically what became the CIA. It's pretty cool. Pretty neat. Okay, just getting some paint on these guys here. Oh my goodness. This is just the gray. Awesome sauce. As always, I do not like wasting paint. Right? Do not like it. Sam I am. I do not like wasting paint. But it's nice. You speak Spanish? Yeah, I do. Hablo español. Si quieres, hago todo esto en español. Bienvenidos. Estamos pintando un vehículo de los Dark Eldar. Así que pónganse sus zapatos. Tómense un asiento, agarren sus pinturas y vamos a empezar con esta cosa. Estoy usando un gris de Games Workshop. Es un gris muy bueno y estoy usando un pincel también de ellos, de base, que se puede comprar en su tienda más cercana. You know. Well, you know, Blue Cloud Andrew. I appreciate it. Knowing a variety of different languages is cool. I also know a little bit of French, but that's because my wife is from New Brunswick. So, you know, they're Acadian French, which is the crazy kind of French. Oh, snap. That's right, wifey. That's right, wifey. Actually going to paint this gray. I think that would be better gray. Originally I was going to leave it green, but looking now, I'm like, you know what? I should paint it gray to tie into the bottom of the tank. Why not? I also have my giant cup of water that I usually hydrate with. and I have my giant cup of coffee. So make sure you're staying hydrated while you paint and drinking lots of fluid like coffee. That'll keep you sharp and keep you going. I wonder when coffee will be banned worldwide. Who knows, maybe. Good morning, Tyler. What are you guys all working on? Are you just sitting there at a break at work when you're supposed to be working, watching me paint? So I'm playing Black Templars today. It's going to be really fun, actually. I'm playing a Black Templar battalion. I'm playing a Talon battalion, so both battalions together, and then I'm taking a fortification detachment with a Fortress of Redemption, because I've actually had so much fun playing with the Fortress of Redemption. It has been absolutely hilarious. Painting my Delac. What is a Delac? I like that. I like that idea. Tarzan. Hey, Tarzan. How are you? All the way from Le France. I was having a coffee break in my cool trooper mug. Tarzan says, yes, the Canadian French is hard to understand with lots of strange words. The Jeffro is working on a Razorwing in preparation for tournament in February. February? Hey, Farseer Chibi. What's going on, yo? Okay, so I've done basically done this in the gray before we did the wash. Kind of gives it like a minor highlight. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the brown again, right? So all this sort of brown, which was a base of Rhinox Hide, and then Steel Legion Drab, and then Agrax Earthshade. And now I'm going to go over it again with Steel Legion Drab once again. So it's essentially going to bring the vibrancy of the color up, which I'm really excited about. And then after the Steel Legion Drab, I like doing an XV88 coat, because XV88 is a fantastic color. And for this, I'm once again using my good old Citadel base brush. So get excited. Tournaments in February, eh? Well, I'm really excited about the tournament this weekend. I'm going to a team event in Sudbury, which is pretty snazzy, if you ask me. Really happy that the Basement Collective, Kevin, Irvin, putting it on. There's 16 teams from all over Ontario, even from the States, folks coming up for this. And there's some great competition. It's going to be fantastic. And it's serving as a place for us to practice as a team for Team Canada for the ETC. So that's pretty neat. I'm not going to lie. There we go. Boom. Boom shakalaka. Good morning, Mole Security. How's it going, buddy? We call Agrax and Null Oil liquid talent. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it's called. There's no difference there. That's what we call it here too. Agrax Earthshade is liquid talent. I agree. I do not disagree. I think that liquid talent is definitely one of the best things you can use for your gaming career. That's for sure. When I started learning how to use washes, the first ink, like it used to be inks, and the first one I learned how to use was chestnut ink, and chestnut ink made everything look incredible. You don't have to be perfect, just put some paint on it. You got to play some Vigilus missions, More Security. How was that? Did you enjoy them? We're playing a breakthrough mission today when Kyle gets here after the stream, because the stream will go till about 12-ish. And then and he's bringing his orcs, so it's going to be a slobber knocker, that's for sure. We're playing a I'm playing a Vigilus detachment for my Templars, though, the Sword Brethren detachment, which I got to try for the first time on Monday, and it was really fun. It was really entertaining. I really, really enjoyed the Sword Brethren detachment. I thought it was hilarious, first of all, and secondly, really characterful and quite powerful. So I'm glad the Templars got some love. The breach of quarantine, no-go Space Marines was super cool. Oh, nice. That's awesome. Yeah, all those different missions, I'm looking forward to like playing them eventually. I just have to get around to it, I guess. Wow, isn't that like what we all kind of hope, that we can all kind of play these missions? But then again, I don't know. I don't know about all you guys, but I enjoy playing different missions all the time. Keeps me fresh, keeps me focused. You know, it's one thing about playing the same format over and over, is that then you get into you kind of get into ruts, because you don't expand your knowledge base. You don't expand your thought processes when you play the same thing over and over and over to the exclusion of all else. If you're so closed off to other ideas, you'll never really be able to expand your knowledge. You know, it's like people who go, I only play Maelstrom, or I only play open war cards, or which is fine. But I mean, you know, if you expand your horizons, you'll expand your experience, and at the end of the day, you expand your like skill set. And who doesn't want to expand their skill set? Pretty sure humans like improving and constantly getting better at something. Right? Please correct me if I'm wrong by leaving an angry message. No, I'm just kidding. Don't leave an angry message. Leave positive messages. Even if you disagree, there's something to be said about basic human decency. If you disagree with something, or you see me like mistake a rule on a video or something, that's when you don't say, this is the worst. This is the worst channel ever. Total unsub right now. Because you're an idiot. No, just tell me, hey dude, you got this rule wrong. And I'll be like, oh shit, you're right. I'm so sorry. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, you know, just saying. Don't be a dick. Oh my goodness gracious. I really like this color. This Talon Sand is one of the nicest colors that they make as well. XV88, Talon Sand, a couple other ones that I really like. This is one of those that's like it just goes on really well. Just looks good as well. And we've got the blades and stuff as well that we want to paint. So these blades over here. Hey Kevin, how are you, buddy? Let me go find a pitchfork and a torch. Aren't you funny? Aren't you funny? Thank you. We're going like, you know, Frankenstein all up in here. Kill the beast. I recently watched a movie. It was like an animated movie about like crazy scientists or whatever, like Frankenstein-esque style. And he creates like a monster that's like really nice or whatever. And John Cleese was in it, which was surprising. Congrats on cracking 1,200 on Patreon. Thanks, buddy. I really appreciate it. Yeah, the next goal is 1,500 on Patreon. That's the next goal. But being able to support my family is like the first thing. So I'm trying really hard to make sure that all the content is worth it for you guys. And doing pretty much non-stop content. So that's and it's definitely like getting it up there isn't, I don't think is going to be the issue, and because I really appreciate your support, and I feel like folks like what I do, and see the value in it. It's more like the long-term plan that I think as a content creator I have to really think about is like, right, I'm 30, going to be 32 on Monday because it's my birthday on Monday. You better all remember that and send me birthday presents. But it's more about like setting up like a retirement plan, and what if I want to create like an empire, how does that work? Oh, it's okay, Kevin. I really appreciate all the support you do give. Every little bit counts. I do appreciate it, buddy. Blue Cloud Andrew on YouTube says, have you seen the Spider-Man animation film? I have not, but I've heard it is fantastic. I believe it won a Golden Globe for Best Animated movie. And I've heard it's really, really good. So yeah, I want to go see it. Maybe I should do like a segment on like movie reviews or whatever. Spoilers. The top 10 things that I liked about it. There's so many different channels that do that. But I think my kid and I are going to go watch it at some point. I do have a little 7-year-old. His name is Olivier, and you'll hear his voice on the latest battle report because he came in towards the end and was like, "How'd it go, Daddy?" It's really cute. And he's starting to show interest in the game. It's like 40K, which is really fun. And I'm also going to be doing some Battlefleet Gothic soon because Kyle's got, he's building a whole orc fleet, which is really fun. I'm a huge fan of Battlefleet Gothic, so hopefully we'll have some other like really neat content stuff for you guys. Hello, Twisted Dice. How's it going, buddy? Thanks for tuning in. Hope everything's going well on your end. Well, I hope everything's going well, Twisted Dice. Thank you for coming by and saying hi. Those skulls along the side are a nice touch. Yeah, I can't take any credit from this conversion. This conversion was done by Kyle Recchi, who did a lot of different conversions that you do see on the channel for different people, like the Grey Knight Grandmasters in Matt's Grey Knight army, or a lot of the yellow orcs that he does, which are pretty much all converted from like knobs, essentially. They're literally all knobs, which is crazy. Like the amount of effort that Kyle puts on like to make like these cool conversions is like phenomenal. It's nuts. Really, really neat. So he made me this raider for the channel, I want to say 6 months ago, something like that. And I'm finally getting around to paint it. So I'm really happy. I'm finally getting around to paint it. Another thing about doing the daily Twitch stream, I'm doing this on YouTube as just like an example. If you want to see the daily stream, go over to the Twitch page at twitch.tv/SkaredCast. I'll put a link in the description for anybody who's watching this on the side. And I do a daily hobby stream like this every day at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless it's like a holiday or something like that, and I'm spending it with family. But yeah, you're welcome to tune in and sit and chat and stuff. And then I do a live stream every Sunday night where we do a topic based on something or other, and we do live Q&As and topics, and you can ask me questions and stuff. And building a really cool community of like-minded gamers, which is pretty neat. yesterday we all we had a Patreon hangout on the Discord, which was really fun, and we watched a battle report on Twitch, and we all basically hung out, painted, and watched the battle report on Twitch, which was really fun. Just prepping for the LCO this weekend. What's the LCO, Twisted Dice? I'm curious to find out what the LCO is. I'm prepping for the Sudbury team tournament. I'm not taking this raider, but my army's painted, so I just have to focus on a few things. Something I did do a little bit of painting on last night was a Fortress of Redemption, which I'm excited to bring out in games for my Black Templars and Imperial Forces. Really entertained by how big that model is and how hilarious it is in game. It's like terrible but amazing at the same time. Terrible but amazing at the same time. Bazinga. Just put paint on it, folks. You know, as you can see, the direct brush strokes, I'm not like trying to be extremely neat just because it is like a second coat and it has like the roughness is kind of like part of the feel that I'm going for. I don't want it to look like pristine, clean lines. I'm trying to make it look, you know, a little barbaric at the same time. What? The only most premier event in the world, the Last Chance Open. Ah, right, yes. Last Chance Open. That is a fantastic event. Aceface puts that on, doesn't he? And together with Martin from Dyson Decks, is that right? It's the last chance to get points for stuff. So it's definitely very popular, a very popular sort of event. Because after all, it is the last chance to get points for the ITC series format. Holy moly moly. I'm a big fan of the color scheme that I picked for my Dark Eldar. I think it works really well. I love it. It's such a good paint scheme. Suits them so well. Green and the browns. So good. That would be me. Ah, cool. Having two channels can be complicated. Yeah, I guess so. Well, Ace, just saying, buddy. I do love your stuff, man. I think it's fantastic. Right, the Twisted Dice, that's the battle report channel, right? And then you do a lot of your... See, because I usually just follow like all the tactical stuff you done, like Tyranids and whatnot back in the day, and going to No Retreat and whatnot, which I wish I could go to someday. The Gibraltar tournaments be so much fun. I want to go meet all these cool people who are like colleagues of mine in their own right, you know, having channels and stuff like that. Why in the world not? That would be really fun, you know. Got a bunch of Patreons in Australia too, so it'd be really on New Zealand. Really cool to go down to New Zealand and Australia and have like a Patreon hangout over there. Go to a couple of their events. It'd be really fun. There you go. So getting that all done. Right, it's not supposed to look perfect. That's right. And some work now. I don't like wasting paint. So I've got my... Do you ever use Drukhari Beasts, says Viliferin? I do. I use Drukhari Beasts all the time. and I use them mostly for friendly games. Though, I haven't really cracked them open for like competitive games. It's so late in the season right now that it's very, I haven't really. I've got a concept that I'm working on that includes beasts for like competitive play. The Razorwing Flux are probably the most competitive of the beast options, because they're still really, really useful in their role, which is smite, soaker uppers, and just generic like screening and being able to fly and get over stuff and whatnot and go up into ruins. And anyway, they're just generically more useful than any of the other beasts. Hey, what's up, Seagates? How's it going, buddy? Kyle Reiki, tea or coffee? Ooh, a tea would be really nice, thank you, my good friend. I'm currently drinking a coffee. Yummy. I like the dark green a lot, says Tyler. Cool, thank you. I like the dark green a lot too. I think it really adds a lot. So I start the color itself starts with a Caliban green. So I do a Caliban green first. Do a couple of layers really thin of that. Then I do not liquid green stuff. That's not a paint. And then I do Dark Angels green, which is not a paint they do anymore nowadays. But that's definitely, if you can find some, that's like just my own recipe. The Dark Angels green, and then I followed up with a Snot green, which is another paint they don't really do anymore. And then a Goblin green, which I believe is another paint they don't do anymore. But that is my recipe. It's just greens, 4 different greens. And then after my first Dark Angel green layer, I do the wash of Agrax. And I'm going to go over it again and do another layer of the dark green. Valley Fern says, I was looking at the Razorwings. They looked like they'd be good at tying scary units down. The thing that you want to use Razorwings for is using Razorwings as screens and as bullet catchers. I like to compare it to like horde units. You're getting 10 Razorwing flocks for 120 points. Like if you're looking at like point efficiency and things like that. So you're getting 10 Razorwing flocks for 120 points. And 10 of them gives you 40 wounds. So that's 40 wounds. Blue Cloud, I'll get to your question in a second. 40 wounds. So the enemy has to get through 40 wounds. Yeah, you don't have like a great toughness. Yeah, you might not have like the best save or any save whatsoever to speak of. However, it just makes it, you still have to do 40 wounds, right? Which is hard to do with most things. So just something to keep in mind. So right now, I'm going to go with the Dark Angel Green again. I'm just essentially doing the first sort of highlight with the color that I had used just before the wash. So it's going to clean it up a little bit. You can do it on like the most of the areas. It doesn't have to be too clean because the whole model was already painted in this color. So it's like you make a mistake, it's not like it won't be noticeable really. It does pay off to be a little patient and kind of see where you want some of the color to kind of catch the light, essentially. So you can get the color to catch the light, and you get a better outline of what you want to achieve. And it looks cleaner. So Blue Cloud asks, what do you say the positive and negatives between using a Venom and using a Raider? A couple of different things. Venoms are good. They're both good. I like I prefer Raiders, like tactically, but I do like Venoms, because Venoms are always going to be useful. But I love the ability of a Raider to carry multiple things, and the biggest thing there is so you can reduce the amount of drops that you have in your army. And reducing the amount of drops you have in your army just helps you potentially get that first turn. Now, if they do bring back the whole whoever deploys first goes first, then I believe that then my vote would go back to the Venom being better just for the -1. But you can carry more things in the Raider, which is always useful. So not something to be scoffed at by any stretch of the imagination. Seagates is working on a space range. Pretty cool. Twisted Dice. I need to step on my game on my own channel. I spent loads of time with the guys getting TD up and running, but definitely will be getting back in the saddle on more tactical stuff. Yeah. Yeah, LVO is going to be fun. Epic mediocrity. Man, these Dark Eldar vehicles look nightmarish. Yeah, they do. I guess that's the whole point of, you know, floating slave pirate ship things. If they didn't look nightmarish, I'd be worried. You know, when they redid the Dark Eldar line, they did a great job of making the feel of the army and that sort of thing just feel really well. And I really thank the design team, because the army plays very like you would expect it, you know, which is pretty snazzy. Hey, Super Strudel. It's going well, thank you. How are you today? I was curious on the beast. My Drukhari is doing small basic, but I'm excited to play my first game. Nice. You're playing your first game this week with the beasts, or just with Drukhari in general? You know, have some fun. Enjoy yourself. Playing with the Drukhari is very rewarding. Hard to do properly, but rewarding. If you get it right, you'll enjoy making your enemies cringe. Nyaka, nyaka, nyaka. Because that's usually how it works. If you do it properly, your enemies will be like, I don't know what to do. And then you know that you've done it properly. You've learned the ways of the Dark Kin. Ah, the Dark Kin. Boom. Boom shakalaka. Chillin', watching the Dark One doing his thing. Nice! That's right, Epic. That's right. Got a tournament this weekend, still working on my guard list. Very cool. Who else has tournaments this weekend? I know I have the team event that I'm going to. So that's technically a tournament, right? How about everybody else? What is everybody else? What plans does everybody else have this weekend? What machinations are you all a part of? Machination. This is probably one of the more tedious parts, is just kind of redoing everything that you've already done in a color that is pretty much already on the model. But it's just to really kind of bring the vibrancy of the color out after the wash. And but it's very well worth it in the long run if you just take your time, get it done. And the Raider and all the vehicle itself will come out looking excellent. So take your time with it. Don't skip steps. An RTT. I have games. Hey, Mole Security. I always had fun with Warp Beast Chimera. Yeah, Chimera are really fun. Like they do a lot of like damage and stuff like that. So Chimera are really neat. Yeah, you use them properly, and they're really effective in game. And then the Clawed Fiend are actually pretty fun as well. If you run them as their own unit, like one at a time, like you run one Clawed Fiend instead of two, then they really shine. If you run two in a unit, they usually die from morale, surprisingly enough. You know, but if you just take one, and that usually works, surprisingly enough. You have to worry about them running away and stuff. It's really handy. Clawed Fiend just seems to be bad grots. Yeah, true. Clawed Fiend is worse than a grot for sure. But it does have the 2 damage attacks, which in a pinch, rather handy. So like take out like a light armored vehicle or something like that. So definitely not something I would just dismiss. But in a specific type of army, it could definitely come in handy for sure. All right. Dun, 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 dun. I hope you guys are enjoying painting. We're doing some hobbying while you're listening and tuning in. If you have any questions, make sure you type them in the description box. I am reading the comments as we go. Raider spam on me. So you guys can be prepared for something fun like that. Would you ever do an Eldar soup? Asks Epic Mediocrity. I don't know how it would taste. A bit of Farseer, some Warlock. I'd have to ask my homunculus to cook it up good. But I guess I wouldn't know until I try it. It's probably about an hour into the stream now if I started humming. Yep. Every time I'm an hour into the stream. Can you see the slight difference? Nose and extra coat? Yes, extra coat. It's got a little bit, it looks a little cleaner from here onwards. So, very excited about that. That's what I say when I start renting. Do you? Rent. I wonder how much fun it would be to just... No, not much fun. I find it annoying when folks just rant about the game. Don't you? You just find it a little frustrating when, somebody who's supposed to be a community leader just like rants about the game. You're like, well, why are you just bitching and moaning? Right? We all spend money on this game. We all have time and effort and money invested into this game. We're into our hobbies. Why would you just go around, sounding frustrated the whole time about everything? Where's the positivity, man? Or woman? Where's the positivity? So, I urge you folks to be out there and be a positive voice. Don't be the naysayer. There, I've said my piece. Yes, just embrace the changes. That's how I feel. Yeah, just about 30 minutes away from Muppets or Baby Shark coming. Yeah, that's about right. It's like a curse almost. you've just invoked it early at some point by bringing it up. That's why I'm going to do the green screen thing, which is going to be me being like in front of a green screen. Just put paint on it. Just put paint on it. When I wear that Harlequin costume this weekend, because the Patreons have spoken, and we hit that Patreon goal, which I said about a year ago, which was really fun, with Pablo on chapter tactics, and it's really funny. And so now I get to go to a tournament, and I get to be dressed up like a Harlequin. So I got myself a Harlequin outfit, jester outfit, like an evil death jester. It's gonna be fun, and I get to wear it to the event this weekend, which is awesome. I'm actually really excited about it. It's ridiculous. That's what it is. Ridiculous, I say. It's not a black and white universe. Complain, sure, but yeah, some people bang on too much. I know. Same reason why we complain about our wives, says Eric. I don't know what you're talking about. My wife is awesome. She put ups with my antics. And I would definitely not complain about her on air, because then she'll lynch me. She's a powerful woman. She would crush me with just her looks. See, I told you more. What have you done? Now I've got it stuck in my head. Quick, somebody help me forget this baby shark humming. Quick, it's an emergency. Why have you done this to me? Why did you do this to me? Oh, this vehicle looks so good. Question. Are there websites out there to find players or groups? I would assume as much. I'm pretty sure there are a variety of different things that you can do in order to do that. I don't think there's like specific websites as much as there's a ton of like Facebook groups, like if you're part of a Facebook group, you can find pretty much everything on Facebook. And that's one of the hardest things. I usually look on Facebook, like for groups. When I go to an area, if I have my army on me and I want to like find a game, it was part of what I did when I traveled a lot for like my old business, and I used to do sales and stuff like that in like different areas. But I would take my I'd find the groups beforehand, so I'd like look online or whatever, and I'd find groups beforehand, and I'd set up a game or something on like my time off. And then I'd film it and I'd put it up as like a traveling wargamer series. And it wasn't too hard to find gamers. Like if, I just kind of look for the local game store, right? Because usually if there's a group of community of people that game, there's usually a game store of some sort, whether it doesn't matter how small. So you find the game store, and I would usually message the game store and be like, hey, do you have games there? Like, what's the community like? Do you guys, is there a day that you meet for games? And I just like make sure that I showed up, or I'd post and be like, hey, am I from out of town? I'm going to be in the store this day from this time to this time. If anybody would like a game, let me know. That's how I got to meet all the Sudbury folk. Went to the game store, the Games Nook, and played one of the guys there, and and then every time I'd go up there for business, I had a place to like play and hang out. Then I met the twins, and and the Basement Collective folks, and yeah, which was really awesome. Then I kind of got involved with them, and now there's giant events being run up there, so it's really exciting. There's a whole bunch of different stuff that happens if you just put your mind to it. Oh wait, coffee break, everybody. Delicious. Cheers for coffee. Oh, this is cold coffee. Blech. More. Have to get you all down to a New York tourney sometime. That would be awesome. What about the Du Bois? Doesn't that count? And have a giant glass of water. It's delicious. Oh my goodness. Cool. 2 hours away. Well, more security. That's a bit of a shame. But we've got all this cool stuff that we do and whatnot. Oh my goodness. That one unit that you've painted that you'd like stat-wise and play with. Hey, Tyler, what's going on? That one unit that you've painted that you like stat-wise and play with? Is that a question as to what unit I like stat-wise that I've painted? That I use, that I don't use? I don't understand your question. Okay, folks, we've got about another half hour or so, 45 minutes tops. So if you have any questions, make sure that you put them in the chat. But I'm doing another coat of this. Almost done. I've done like half the radar. So now the back half should be a little faster because the areas are a little bigger. So a model that I really like the stats for, that I'm assuming you're kind of being like something you've painted that you like using even though it's not the best in the game. Like, is that kind of the question that you're sort of asking? That you use just for funsies? That I've painted that I use just for funsies. I want to say my entire Black Templar army. I use them just for funsies because they're definitely not at the forefront of the competitive scene at the moment. But I've been finding some cool, like they're definitely hard to play currently based on different like matchups and stuff like that. But the more I play them, the more cool little tricks I'm learning and stuff like that, which is quite rewarding in its own right. So I want to say my Black Templars. And that's my answer, and I'm sticking to it. All the Black Templars I've painted are amazing. I love the look of them. They look cool, and they are not as good on the table as I would like them to be. Like your favorite. What's my favorite model that I play with that I love? Oh, man. It's a tough question. I really like my Tantalus. Don't get to play with it as much as I'd like, but my Tantalus is the pride and joy of my Drukhari army, I would say. That model is just gorgeous. Giant raider of death, essentially. And it's not I've taken it to a tournament even. My first Sudbury GT that I won. My first major win ever was with a Tantalus. I'm really proud of that, actually. The Tantalus is not necessarily considered the most busted or broken unit, especially after they went up in points and chapter approved to 400 points or something like that. The longest time I thought they were 450 points, which was really funny. Led to a lot of confused opponents when they're like, oh, it's not 400 points. I was like, oh, you're right. I mean, it's not 500 points. Not the Tantalus. There you go, Kevin. See, look, I did say the Tantalus. I didn't even read your comment. My Tantalus is one of my favorite models. I freaking love that thing. And I would use it in every game if I could. Yeah, because it just looks flippin' awesome. I hope that answers your question. Valley Furum. Oh, I do have a question. Is Lilith a decent HQ? I really like her aesthetically, but looking at her stats, she just seems like slightly better succubus. Lilith is a beast. She is a force to be reckoned with on the table, and I highly, highly recommend her. You know, I would take Lilith. Her stats might not look good, but it's her special rules that make her really dangerous. She can jump around and get Headhunter, and she's just like a little character killer. She's really, really good, and she can bring down most characters in one fell swoop. Plus, she has a 3-up invulnerable save, which is incredibly powerful for a succubus. So I love Lilith. She is a beast. That's what she is. Do not underestimate Lilith. The regular succubus is good if you just want to save points, but if you're taking Cult of Strife, you're taking Lilith. Like, she's just that good that I would, if I took Cult of Strife, take her every single time. Plus, the miniature looks incredibly good. Like, the miniature is amazing. You know, I had a Patreon once leave the Patreon because I was painting Lilith. And they thought it objectified women. Found that very interesting. I was just painting Lilith. It's not like I was being rude while painting Lilith. You know? No. Plus, it's a good sculpt. Like, out of all the sculpts that GW has done for, like, female form, Lilith is one of the better ones. In terms of everything from proportion to backstory to, like, skill. She's like a badass mother effer. She is, like, legit. Yes, Kevin, exactly. Yeah, it looks epic. What's a good way to deal with marine flyers? Depends what kind of flyers. My tailors usually take care of flyers. They just get close and then jump up. Either that or the Ravagers. Just shoot them with disintegrator cannons, they die. Just make sure that you have your Archon nearby to give you the reroll bubble. Yeah, but other than that, shouldn't be too much of an issue. Look at that, looking so slick. Now we're starting to get those colors up and running. Oh my goodness gracious. Amazing. I love when it starts coming to fruition like this. And then I'm going to be building a pilot. I'm going to be building a gunner. So I can have a pilot and a gunner go on here as well. And paint these chains. I'll paint these chains after. It's an awesome conversion, I know, Tyler. Kyle did a great job with this conversion. You know, he is the conversion king. He has like a knack for the artistic that is just, you know, it's just built in his blood. Some sort of artistic genius when it comes to converting. Just makes him incredible at it. Kyle touches when it comes to converting stuff is just amazing. So it's pretty cool to see stuff he comes up with. Like ever since I saw his Primaris Dreadnought army, and every single one of his Primaris Dreadnoughts is like converted to be like crazy. He's got like a chaplain guy converted up, and he's got like a guy like climbing out of the Dreadnought, climbing into the Dreadnought. Like it's really neat, like a mech style. It's really cool. And you haven't really seen it until you like see some of his pictures. Which is funny because he doesn't really have like any sort of like public Facebook page or anything like that. But people who know him get him to do stuff for them because he's just so good at it. Oh, goodness gracious me. Oh my goodness gracious me. What in the world is going on with the stream today? Come on, little stream. Come on. Hope it's not cutting out too badly for you guys over here at the on the YouTubes. You know, just I'm trying to make sure that everything's going kosher here. Okay, one last batch. Shouldn't need more than this. But you want to make sure that it's well worth it. So giving a good mix there. There we go. Okie dokie. Karaoke. Ooh. And then I'm probably gonna paint, I don't know what to paint these like inside panels. Maybe the gray that I use at the bottom. I think that might actually tie in the whole color scheme. Yeah, that does seem like an idea, now doesn't it? As you can see, like, it doesn't have to be super neat, right? But this is just like me basically going over the same color after wash. And all it's doing is it's cleaning up the wash, right? Because I did put it on with a brush, which does come out, you know, sometimes you can see some of the brush strokes and it doesn't come out as like neatly as say airbrushing it or whatever. But there are different strategies and techniques that you can use to bring up the vibrancy of the color while at the same time keeping it really simple. And that's the whole point. You know, as we've discussed before, I like, you know, making sure that things are practical, right? That's the whole purpose of this, is the practicality of painting an army. No need to overcomplicate it. Just put paint on it. And that's the motto of the SkaredCast hobby stream. Just put paint on it. I love working from home, says Kevin. Cool. Thank you. More security. I really appreciate the advice. Valley Firm. You actually changed color, Valley Firm. You were blue and now you're like a bright green on the chat. Random question. What time Friday? Yeah, Kev, are we like for the tournament on Friday, Kevin? Can we help come and set up, or because I'm bringing a couple of tables to the event, right? So, and I'm assuming it's at the basement, right, where you usually run all the events. Because it's really funny because that building was actually in a television show, which was great. It's about gangs and drugs and stuff, and that building that you guys rent out is used in that television series, which I don't remember the name of the TV series. But it was about gangs in Montreal and whatnot. Bad Blood, I think it's called. Bad Blood? Yeah, I think it's called Bad Blood. Name of the show, it's a Canadian show. Good show, too. Bazinga. Epic mediocrity. How do you feel about reaction to some of the Sisters of Battle models? I don't know. What reaction? Going to be a get together at the Nook before then. I didn't know there were any reactions. I just saw like the CAD, right, for the Sister Battle. The CAD design that they released. I'm excited about it. Or do you mean, yeah, the models? Yeah, the CAD. I like it. You know, what did people expect? They're not going to like ultimately completely change the look of the line. They're just going to make it better. So, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think they're going to change the basic dynamic of the army. Why would they? The army itself looks fantastic already. Like, the Sisters have, even though they're some of the oldest models, their models like stand up even today to like standards of models nowadays, even though they were, you know, made way back when. Just shows how good of a line it is, even though it's like ancient, right? There we go, guys. Pretty much done all the green on this side as well, except for that fin. And then I have to do the sails, and then I do the chains, and then we do basically highlight on the skulls, and that is pretty much all she wrote when it comes to this guy for today. And then tomorrow, we'll start the highlighting process. And we'll do a couple of highlights, or one highlight across all the green, and we'll do maybe some of the detail. We'll continue to do the other channels have brought up it's a bit too fleshy and extreme. Oh, I'm not like, I haven't really sat down and made a judgment call. Like I like focusing more on the gaming aspect of the game. Like the models look cool and stuff like that, but I'm not about to go and judge a designer who's making art, you know, for what it is, art, you know. It's the thing about art is it's all subjective. So to some people it might look great, to other people it might not look so great. It's the beauty about being artistic, you know. Some people might, my color scheme that I'm using right now for my Dark Eldar, right? You know, even though I think it's the coolest thing ever and I really like the color scheme, some people like the color scheme. So I can't make a judgment call on that. You know, I like making more judgment calls on things like how the army works on the battlefield, and you know, things that like that I can actually kind of have sort of like a say on, I would want to say. You know what I mean? And right now, the Sisters of Battle deserve a new line. And you have to think not only about the feel of the army, or the, you know, how easy is it to make a mold for it, and how much plastic do they need to use for each mold? Like all those are cost things. So maybe it's designed in a certain way to cut down on costs, or I don't. Yeah, cool, man. Cool. Clean up the spots you don't want to wash on. So painting question, when you go back over the wash like you're doing right now, what purpose does that serve? Is it just to get rid of the shine from the wash? Yeah, a combination of different things. Like it helps kind of clean up the model, but it also kind of leaves the the deepest, it basically shades the model. So all the deepest areas of the model that you might have gotten some color on with like some of the base coat, kind of go dark with the shade, and then you can kind of go over the color again, and it basically makes the color kind of pop. Like so the dark areas stay dark because of the shading, whereas the color that you were going to use originally kind of comes back to life, and you can continue the color on the model. You know, and it also means that you add like an extra highlight to the model without adding another color to the palette, because after the shade, the color that you're using is essentially the same color that you used before. However, the wash darkened everything up, which then means that you're essentially highlighting that color with the same color. And it gives you another layer of highlighting without having to add another color to the model, which kind of makes it look a little bit more professional without having to do like all the extra work of like 50 layers or whatever. You know, you can kind of, and it allows you to just kind of get a decent, and it's very subtle, but it also depends on what color like you're highlighting. Essentially, it is very subtle, but it is very useful at the same time, right? So I hope that more security. The only thing I worry about with the sisters is what opinion they might lose due to newish no model, no rules policy. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess that always takes a difference. Yo, tired as F, don't haunt my dreams, Dark One. Peace. No problem, Epic. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. We appreciate it. No problem, Keith. Any questions are welcome, buddy. You make sure you ask those questions like that. You know, painting can be one of those things that can be, you know, terrifying to do at first, especially if you don't know what you're doing. You know, and you kind of have to be okay with messing it up or getting better as it goes, and being okay with your own mediocrity at first. You know, like I'm not an expert painter. I don't think I have the patience to be like a expert super painter. But I use little tips and tricks of the trade to make my things look okay, possible for a tabletop gaming experience. And that's from the way that I hold my brush to the way that I let the paint flow on the model. Instead of trying to brush the paint on the model, I let the paint flow on the model. And it's a very subtle difference, but it's how do you hold your paintbrush? And that is an art in and of itself. You let the bristles do the work. You don't let your hand do the work. Because if you try and force the paint on the model, it doesn't work. Believe me. Right? Do 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 do. There we go. Ah, that looks fancy, fancy, fancy. Look at it go. Look at it. It looks fancy. Are you more of a painter? The Black Templar. Hello, the Black Templar. Are you more of a painter, collector, or player? Used to be more of a player. I'm still more of a player, I would say. I'm just learning how to do the whole painting and collecting thing because I'm in, like, basically broadening my content creation to bring more value to what I do to all you guys. So I'm kind of teaching myself how to do different things more, like painting and things like that, to kind of be of value to you guys. Whereas I'm normally more of a gamer. Like I could just game all day, every day, and play 5 games a day, you know, 6 days a week. I feel like I could just outgame most people in that sense, like with the stamina of gaming. Maybe it's because I'm absolutely crazy, but that's kind of how that feels. Like I can go to a 4-round tournament, come back from the tournament, be like, let's play another game. I like the greenish glow. Grove and Grove, hey, thanks for the sub. Really appreciate it, mister. Thank you so much on Twitch. Okay, so this is what the green looks like right now. We're looking at this guy over here. Boom, boom, just like that. Yeah, really excited about how this guy looks. He's really kind of come a long way. I've done the basics on the green here, which is super exciting. Good day, Mr. Grove and Grove. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Much appreciated. All is dust. More pointy-eared ship painting Slaneshes, please. Thanks, All is dust. I appreciate it. Cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the chains, and I'm going to do basically another layer on the skulls, and then we're going to call it a day because I've got Kyle coming over, and we're filming another battle report, which I'm really excited about. For the skulls, I used Karak stone as my main color. I'm going to be basically just getting a bit of this Karak stone and just putting some of that on the skulls. Nothing crazy, it's just like a little layer, just kind of bring up the color. The cool thing about skulls is you don't have to be like super like tight with them. You can be a little bit more liberal with the colors. And by liberal, I mean light with the colors, just because you're going to be doing a couple of different layers on there. The thing here is I don't want to disrupt where all the wash went, because the wash is essentially going to give vibrancy to the skulls. And Kyle used a lot of skulls. Any guesses on how many skulls? I know, because we already had this competition before. But any of you that hasn't been on the competition before can try and venture a guess of how many skulls are on this raider here. There's a lot of them, I'll tell you. A lot of skulls. 46, 34, all is dust. All is dust. Yeah, definitely over 40 skulls, that's for sure. Which is really funny because that's a lot of skulls for a little tank like this. When you think about it, that's really fun. You know? Let's make a tank and put tons of skulls on it. Who cares about being aerodynamic? Let's make it heavier. Waka, waka, waka. Let's make it heavier and put more skulls down. No, please don't. Chop his head off. I need another trophy. The real question is, will the raider protect your infantry against the Emperor's bayonets? Yes. I'm going to go ahead and say yes to that question. It will definitely help protect me against the Emperor's bayonets, because I won't be close enough to the ground for you to use them in my fancy anti-grav tank. There, your whole premise was flawed. Although stay tuned, today I'm releasing the battle report to the general public, where I play my Black Templars against the Necrons. Really fun battle report, really entertaining. Had a lot of fun playing John. So I'm going to put that up basically as soon as I finish this. It'll go live. And then I'm filming another bat rep, which is kind of exciting. Ooh, see, look, it's good to go over this, like skulls and stuff, because then you find like little areas that were like, oh, there's green paint on there. There shouldn't be green paint on there at all. How good are a corpse god bayonets? Excitement intensifies. Yeah, I hope it is, because the Black Templars had a fantastic fun game against the Necrons, and they took a Fortress of Redemption. So I was essentially defending a Crusade keep, which was really cool against the Necron onslaught. And let me tell you, for 400 points, Fortress of Redemption is really fun. It's ginormous, takes up most of the table, and has some pretty cool weapons on it too. It just, as soon as it starts taking damage, it starts becoming really useless. But that's okay. You know, we try and make it work. So it's going to be part of my official Black Templar army. Like whenever I go to a tournament, I'm more than likely going to be taking a Fortress of Redemption every single time with my Black Templars, because I think it's hilarious. Hilarious. I found a really cool 2,000 point list that I like, actually, with the Templars and the Fortress of Redemption, and that's what I'm playing today. So we'll see how that works. And everybody's questions, yes, there's 40, I believe, 6 skulls on this thing, or 47 skulls. It's a lot of skulls. Kyle went ham on these skulls. Some are resin, some are from the skull set the GW released. 4+ to hit sucks. Are you allowed to stand on top of it for cover? No. No, you're not. You can, it's a building, right? So you can put guys inside. It just says make sure you put people on the parapets for, to remind you, like, who's inside or whatnot. But it can carry 1 unit of up to 30. 1 unit of up to 30. Similar to a Bastion. A Bastion can carry 1 unit of up to 20. 15 models from inside can fire out of the Fortress of Redemption. So you can have 15 models firing out of the fortress. It's not terrible. Measuring like line of sight and range and stuff from any part of the model, which is pretty handy. I found it really fun to put a unit of Devastators in there, and they can like draw a line of sight from that giant tower up at the top and kind of shoot anything they want. And then yeah, if it's occupied, the guns don't shoot the closest target. If not, the guns try shoot the closest target always. There you go. Done with the skulls for around here. Gonna do some XV88 to get some. Are you allowed to stand on top of it? No. That's would the building hold an objective? Yes, it would, because it is part of your army. It is a model in your force. Basically, you buy it. You have to buy it as a fortification. It's an unaligned unit, but it is a unit in your army. So yes, it can control objectives and stuff like that. Like, it only counts as 1 model, so you're not exactly going to capture an objective with a lot of, like, if the enemy is like attacking you with a lot of people. However, you know, for like a backfield objective or something like that, could be relatively handy. You just want to hold the objective, you know, so. This I'm painting in the scheme of Devon Swan, because Devon Swan and I get along really well. So I'm painting a whole skull on here that's based on his army. Waka, 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 waka. We counted that as a skull because there's a skull inside of that. Khorne needs more skulls for the skull throne. Yeah, Khorne should never be satisfied for how many skulls are on his skull throne. Ever. Okay, then I'm using Shadow Gray. That's the color I used for this chain. So I'm just adding a little bit of this here, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, da-na-na-na, da-na-na, little bit of this, a little bit of that. And then I'm going to be getting my trusty, where are you? Where are you? Here we are. My layer brush. not my base brush. So my trusty layer brush. So I'm just going to be doing a quick layer on these chains, and I don't want to break anything or get too much paint anywhere. Just to bring the color of the chains out. Oh, snap. And it doesn't have to be crazy. Just gonna make enough of a pop to make it pop. I'm really excited to go to mini wargaming and have a battle against mini wargaming guys. I don't know who I'm playing against, but it'll be super entertaining. And that's happening on the 13th of January, so in like a month. It's really fun. Really excited about that. Even the Tau have a place in Tzeentch's schemes. Yeah, the Tzeentch is all over the place. He has schemes for everyone. The great change master has schemes for all. Enough schemes for you, enough schemes for me. Ay, 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 ay. Canta y no llores, porque cantando se alegran, cielito lindo, los corazones de la Sierra Morena. There we go. Boom. It's looking good. It's looking good. Really subtle, but really good. All right, got to get back to work. Thanks for the painting tips. No problem, Keith. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Sam Hogg, checking in from the Middle East. These live streams are keeping me going till my next rotation. Nice. I'm excited. I'm glad you're having some fun, buddy. I'm also on Twitch. Head on over to Twitch, and I've got a whole bunch of videos on there and stuff and whatnot. But I also have, we did a battle report. Probably going to be rerunning that bat rep on Twitch as well. So thanks a lot for tuning in, everybody. Really appreciate it. These I really enjoy doing these streams. They're really fun. I do it one every day at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I do them on Twitch every day. So you guys can hang out on Twitch. I just decided to do one on YouTube today to kind of promote the fact that I do it on Twitch. So make sure you check out the link in the description and check out the Twitch channel. And I'll be there every day, basically painting for a couple hours every morning. And then sometimes I do bat reps and stuff like that. So head on over, follow, like, subscribe, share. There we go. Okay. So guys, that is all I'm going to be doing on this guy today. So as you can see, we did some cool work on this Raider, which is really exciting. Actually, it's the other way around. Simply because I'm going to be running him, of course, in in the army. So thank you, Kyle, for making this for the channel. It's really cool. I really like it. Have to go to paint blast my Druk here before work. The Ray looks fantastic. Hope you have a good day. Thanks. Thank you so much, Vilif. I like the two-tone. Yeah, and then you've got the underslung, which is the bottom, which is gray. And you've got the top here, and you've got the front, and you've got the back, and everything like that in between. So it's been a really fun project so far. Tomorrow we'll be essentially showing the highlights on the green, and then we'll basically finish up some of the. We'll go to the next color essentially, and then on Friday we should be finishing her up. And then we'll be off to Sudbury for the team event. Anyway, thanks a lot for tuning in, folks. I really appreciate it. I thank you so much. Make sure you check out the Twitch stream. I'm going to sign out of YouTube right now, but I'm Skari, your grateful host, signing off until next time. A huge shout out to all the Patreons to the channel. You guys make this possible. Thank you very much. I'm Skari, out.